Welcome to The Walk-In, a podcast where doors stay open and stories unfold one conversation at a time. Hosted by Christopher Michael Sean, author, poet, actor, and lifelong student of people and purpose. Here, you're more than just a listener. You're part of the room, part of the story. In every episode, someone sits down, breathes deep, and shares what drives them, what keeps them moving, and what keeps them dreaming. This is a space for dreamers, doers, and those still finding their way. So pull up a chair, pour something warm, and let's take a walk into the soul.
So I'm Mia. I'm the author and illustrator of Worries Whispers. I'm an artist and a writer and an actress. I also have OCD and health anxiety and just anxiety in general. And the really cool thing I get to say now is I'm also a mental health advocate. So that's kind of me.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. And I know that I had a great conversation a couple of episodes ago. I don't know if you ever watched our episode together. Let me see if I can find the name of it. Actually, with this great guy who not only he does a lot of active stuff with mental health. So I guess the question would be like, whenever you think about mental health, like the fight and advocacy for mental health, what do you see that as? Like, what is your vision of it?
Um, I'd really honestly, I would like a lot of awareness, which I think it's definitely becoming more of a thing that people talk about. Um, but more so an awareness for all mental health, but like for OCD kind of things. Um, just because I think it's a very misunderstood in a by the general like kind of public, just because of like how it's portrayed like stereotypically like in television, and how people kind of use it very casually, like, oh, I'm so OCD, which is not, usually the correct case. But I really just want to kind of create conversations using art really around like advocacy and awareness and like what OCD actually is and like, available treatment options. And the people who are experiencing these really like scary, isolating thoughts, they're not alone in what they are experiencing. There's a lot of people out there just like them.
Yeah, I think that can be one of the scarier parts of mental health is the idea that you're alone. And me, I'm studying for psychology to become a
Oh, cool.
therapist.
That's awesome.
So yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh, it can be really interesting whenever you learn just how much of a liar your brain can be. Your brain convinces you of the most awful of things, like, oh, nobody wants to hear you. Like, no, like it is so brave for someone to open up and someone to talk about their problems and to seek help. And it's awesome to see more recognition as to the mental health crisis in America because it is a crisis. It
yeah.
is 100,000% a crisis. More people die from suicide than gun deaths,
Mhm.
and that is just heart stopping. Both
Yeah.
are terrible, but it is just heart stopping. Um, and that's why I'm such a big I don't know if I'm allowed to call myself an advocate in comparison to some people like you, but
You can. Yeah.
it's one of the reasons I'm pursuing becoming a therapist. Yes, I'm an actor, I'm an author, I'm a poet, all these things.
Oh, we're so
And
similar.
yeah, yeah, but really and maybe more or less being a therapist will help those other genres. It'll help me be a better podcast host. It'll help me be a better actor, better author, better poet. But I really, as someone who struggled, as a kid, I know how important it is.
Yeah.
And, I just wanna say thank you for advocating. Thank you for putting yourself out there because it can be scary, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Thank you for having me. And I do think I would actually very much consider you a mental health advocate because you're giving up a platform for people to talk about it with you. So I think this is a great kind of community podcast that you've created that we get to chat about this today. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. The Walk-In podcast is a beautiful place. It's mental health, self-love, and dreams.
Oh, I
And
love
yeah. And it's crazy because I was just talking about this in the last recording with
Mhm,
Edward about how whenever I first started, like if you went to me like 2 years ago,
mhm,
fresh out of divorce, I had nothing. I was sleeping in my car. If you would have told me that, like, oh yeah, you're going to be running a podcast with random strangers from the internet, I would have, my introverted ass would have been like, there is no way that I'm doing that. Okay,
oh,
there's no way. But it's been an absolute blessing to hear the
mhm,
stories of people and to like I was mentioning Jack. So Jack's mental health journey. He actually is a very big advocate in mental health, and he actually like he's on the front lines of it. He talks to a lot of people that are on the
mhm,
brink, and he brings them away from the cliff and
yeah,
saves them so many times. And for someone like him, like he was talking about how oftentimes he has a situation where he's not able to save someone and he
mhm,
actually has to, like, kind of save himself in that situation because otherwise he could drown too. And I think that it's a very scary field to be in, but it's
mhm,
very necessary. It's very brave. On the note of mental health,
yeah,
I'm curious because you said that you use your art to, express your
mhm.
advocacy for mental health. So I'm curious, like, how do you do that? How do you use your art?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I wrote this book, Worries Whispers,
Mm,
and just I'm gonna give like a little bit of like kind of just background on like my kind of experience. So, is it'll tie in. So the book is not autobiographical. However, it is based off of my very real experience with OCD, health anxiety, all like that kind of world.
mhm,
So, I've had OCD my whole life. I just didn't know that I had OCD. So that was quite an experience, which is unfortunately not an uncommon experience. Is to not know that you have OCD until later in life. I think it's like uh, 17 years, I think, on average to be diagnosed with OCD from the first time you
mm.
experience it. I think it might have gone down a little bit, don't quote me, but it might be like it's
Oh,
like
she's
15 to
quoted.
17
It's too
years. So
late. You've already been quoted.
yeah, right?
Just kidding.
No, for real though. But anyway, so was diagnosed about like 3 years ago or so. So for a large majority of my life, I didn't really know what this kinda anxiety, worry kinda was.
Mm,
Um, However, I went through a really difficult, period, and, I had some people who were looking out for me, which was great. They're like, "Hey, I think you should probably go see a therapist," and I was like, "I definitely agree with you." So, I went and saw a therapist who was actually not an anxiety specialist, which I talk about in the book. I say finally an anxiety specialist, which will um, I'll explain in a second, but basically, not everybody who is a therapist specializes in OCD. So it's really important to like see somebody who's an OCD specialist who specializes in OCD. Luckily, I was so lucky this lady pointed me in the right direction. Anyways, I went and saw this therapist, and he's my current therapist now. And kind of through like our work together, I discovered that the way that I learn the best is through drawing. So I was drawing these like therapeutic concepts kind of as like homework and then bringing them back. And that's when things really started clicking for me in therapy was kind of through this art. So it's always been kind of like ingrained in me like to be an artist as well as being worried. So it's kind of nice to bring like those two kind of things together. But it was actually my therapist who really encouraged me to put these drawings or the idea of these drawings into some kind of like format to put out into the world, which for me is a very, very scary thing, which I think it is for a lot of people. But for me, how my OCD really shows up is I'm really nervous that I'm gonna say something wrong, do something wrong, or like I'm a bad person, like things like that. So I was like, this is
mm.
crazy because this is like a whole thing that
That's
is
too real. That's too
yeah,
relatable. Mm,
yes. So anyways, but I released it. I'm very proud of myself for doing that.
Yeah, I'm proud of you too. That's incredible.
Thank you. But sorry, to kinda answer the question about, like, how art and mental health, like, kinda comes together is really through that. It was very healing for me to draw, like, these concepts and, like, finally understand them through art, and then to then be able to, like, share that with other people, that might be experiencing similar kind of feelings that I was experiencing, and giving or kinda creating, like, this resource I wish that I had, um, at the time. But, yeah, I think it's pretty cool.
No, that's incredible. I actually, you remind me of a piece of art that I worked on in one of my classes,
Oh, yeah?
and I'm gonna send it to you. You can judge
Yeah.
me if you want. That is what I just sent you is basically my idea of like well, I want you to tell me what you see whenever you look at that. Actually, I want your artistic interpretation
Okay.
first.
I do not oh, there it is. I was
It's
like, I
on
do
Facebook.
not use Discord at all. Let's see.
Well, it's on Facebook, or do you want me to send it on
We
Discord?
said
I can
on
send it.
Facebook. Okay, okay. No, let me
Yeah,
see. Okay, yes, I see. Very cool. You got, like, a mixed media kinda thing happening.
yeah. So this was a scanography piece of work. I'm not the biggest artist in the world, but I can
Very
kind of
cool.
explain I
Yes,
can
thank
kind of explain what it's
I'd love
supposed
to
to
know.
be.
Please.
So this is called The Performer, and
Okay.
it's a lot of, like, how I feel internally. This was a big interpretation of that, and a lot of it, like, I what you said about, how you feel about, like, am I the bad person? Am I doing good, all that? Like, am I gonna say something wrong? I deal with that, like, all the time. And so that's kind of what this is. So the mouth is a gold chain because everything I say has value, but I feel like it's, like, limited because if I say something
Oh, that's so
wrong.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah. The star is like the eye of the performer, on the
Mhm.
stage, on the podcast.
Yep.
The yin and yang, the battle between am I good, am I bad?
Yeah.
Um, the crown of obligation, different symbols, different
Ah,
things of silver and gold. Um,
really
the
cool.
yeah, the gray in the bottom is which I don't know if you can tell, but that's a mask. So it's
I
like a
can
face.
now. Yes,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the bottom, the little gray bits, those are like grief, essentially, things
Oh,
that have,
wow.
burdened me or pulled me down or grieved me. The
Yeah.
left is sorrow, the blue is like the
Mhm.
sorrow, and the red is like the hopeless romantic. So altogether, it's the performer. That's like my idea of like
Oh, yeah.
could if I could put myself into a piece of art to interpret like who I am, how I feel, that's what that would be. And I think I don't know why that came to mind whenever you were, talking
That
just
makes
now,
a lot
but
of sense why it came to mind. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I yeah, I think we might be, I don't know exactly how similar, but I definitely can relate to that piece and
yeah,
your explanation behind it. But yeah, I also I have to say I think it's really cool that both of us are on a podcast being recorded, and we're both a little nervous about what we say and if it can be interpreted, incorrectly, but we're
yeah,
we're doing it though. We're out here
you're
doing it.
doing it, yeah, exactly,
I love that. That's awesome.
yeah, yeah, it can listen, let me tell you, that's like my big dream is, so I don't know if you heard my origin story through the few episodes that you listened to, I don't know if it was
Rem
few.
Remind me, yeah.
So, long story short, I was in a relationship for a long time after college, and I'd been pursuing acting, but I gave up on it because I was in this relationship. The relationship failed, and she left me for Five Guys, not the restaurant. Um, she cheated on me several times,
I'm sorry.
and it's okay. Everything happens for a reason, you know. And so basically, she so we broke up, and I was getting ready to file for divorce. My best friend Narciso had just sued Pepsi for like $450,000, and
Okay.
he was going to use that money. He was like, "Let's go to New York City. We both just got out of a divorce. Let's go to New York City, and like I'll chase my music, you can chase your acting. It'll be great." And it
Mhm.
sounded amazing. I'm a contracted actor. I've got, somewhat of an agent. I'm trying my best. I've got this acting degree. Let's do it. I've got nothing to lose. Well, he ends up coming to New York. He goes to somewhere upstate, and he falls in love with some girl. He goes to the city. He spends all of his money on this girl. Never talks to me. So then I'm in Oklahoma. I've got $1,000 and nothing else because I'd been saving up money, but I didn't have
Yeah.
$450,000.
Right.
So I took that $1,000. I took a bag of clothes, packed my car, and came to New York with nothing. And I slept in my car for 3 months. I saved up a bunch of money, got my own place, got set up, made friends, made whole new connections.
Yeah.
And it sucked for the longest being
Yeah.
2,000 miles away from friends and family. And it a lot of it was that mental health struggle of like, I had to deal with getting over my relationship. I had to deal with it alone for most of it. And while it was very possible, I do wish that I'd gone to therapy. I do wish that I'd reached out and used the resources that my job gives me
Mhm.
to, have somebody fight alongside me. Um, but yeah, no, I ended up doing all of that. Now with that is I don't really think that I ever thought about what am I going to do when I have to be on stage? Because like you said, like that anxiety
Mhm.
of like being in front of people. So I started doing open mic nights, and for the longest time it was nerve-wracking. You have this
Mhm.
microphone. Like, I could show you a scene from me being on stage where I literally forget everything. I
Oh, yeah.
pull out a piece of paper, I read it, and I put it
Mhm.
back down, forgot everything again. Like,
Yeah.
so it's really crazy, and the interpretation of, like, what you could say. What if you say something wrong? What if you say
Yeah.
especially me as a guy, I feel like I could
Mhm.
say something inappropriate and not even mean to. Like, what if I say something
Mhm.
offensive and not even mean to?
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of really nasty men out there that say and
Yeah.
do nasty things. I don't wanna be mistaken for those guys.
Right.
Um,
No,
so
I
yeah,
I get it. Yeah, I mean, I was afraid to even send text messages for a really long time just to friends, like, not
yeah,
very benign, like, there's nothing it well, I mean, I guess, I like to say, like, you don't know, it's possible. It could be fine, it could not be fine. Trying to, like, be okay with uncertainty, but, I think anybody else would look at, "Hi, how are you?" Probably not gonna be interpreted like, you know, crazy,
mhm,
but OCD's weird, like, it doesn't it's not very, logical a lot of the time. It's like you have the at least for me, my experience, I have the insight of like, "Hey, this is probably illogical, but what if?" Like, what if that, could be interpreted
or,
incorrectly?
like, if you send a text message and you don't immediately get a response and you're like,
Yeah,
now you're interpreting your own
right.
message, and you're
Yeah,
just like, what if they think I'm a weirdo? What if they think that, like, I'm just fucking
yeah,
strange? Why did I send that? Why did I say it like that? What's wrong with me? Yeah,
yeah.
it's the craziest thing. Now, in psychology, I don't know if this is the exact right thing, but we learned
Yeah,
about the default mode network, which is basically your, am am I doing this right? Let me think about the
yeah.
situation. And I'm assuming, I don't know, but I'm assuming OCD is probably when that is on overdrive. I don't know for sure, but it
I
kind of
don't
sounds like
I don't
kind
either.
of
It
overdrive.
sounds it's on the right track. I'm not
Yeah.
100% sure, but what I always say that, like, for OCD, there's kinda, like, 2 different definitions of, like, what it is. One is, like, the more academic version, which is, like, it's a psychiatric condition where somebody experiences, like, worries, intense worries and, like, upsetting thoughts and images, and then have, like, an urge to do something about that,
Mhm.
like, to make it go away. And then I
Yeah.
say there's, like, the lived experience side, which I think is kinda more of, like, the real answer, which is it's an anxiety issue for sure, but
Mhm.
it's like the thing that you're stuck on, it actually feels like this is the end of the world, and, like, if I do not do something about it right now, like, everything will fall apart, and it's up to me to figure out what to do about that.
Yep.
But there's a big flaw in that, which is the more you, like, for example, like, for me, like, asking somebody, like, did this sound okay? Like, did this sound like I said something wrong? Like, when you go and ask that person, it's like you have all this anxiety, and then as soon as they say, "No, like, it's totally fine," it goes down. However, it's only temporary, right? So,
Yeah.
then it's like, you're gonna eventually go back to, like, "What if they misheard what I said?" Or, like, "What if they didn't really quite understand what I said?"
Or
Like,
what if they're just being polite? Like
polite, like, I need to go back and ask again, but really what that does is the action or the fuels,
it
like, that
reinforces it
it
reinforces. Yeah.
reinforces it, which
Reinforces the anxiety, which just becomes
yeah,
cyclical. It becomes
which
just this
exactly, which I don't ask me why that happens or whatever. OCD is just, like, really weird, like, that's really, like, all I can say is, like
I I find myself going into a rabbit hole. I'll be like, everything is fine, I'm good, and then something will happen, and then it's just this tirade that just fucking collapses, and it's just like, "Oh, okay, so the whole world is dying." Like,
yeah,
kind of thing. So, like, I think the greatest example of this was, whenever I was sleeping in my car for 3 months, which don't get me wrong, not the proudest time of my life, but, rebuilt stories, rebirth stories, they're good. I was really scared that anybody at work was gonna find out. I was like, "If somebody finds out that I'm sleeping in my car, it's
yeah,
all over. It's all
yeah,
over." And I don't know why I thought that. My
yeah,
boss finds out, like, literally 2 weeks before I get into my own place. I'd already put the deposit down, everything. I was about to have my own place. I was so close. And my boss said, I noticed how your car never leaves the parking lot." I was like,
mm,
she was like, "Are you sleeping in your car?" I was like, "Ugh," and she was like, "You can be honest with me, like, we have resources that'll help you." And I told her, I was like, "I don't want help. I'm about to have my own place, and
mhm,
please don't tell anyone." Like,
yeah,
so,
but
yeah.
you know what's kinda, like, nice about that is, like, you know, there was help available, like, if you needed it,
Mhm.
and
That's exactly it.
really just reaching out is, like, the very first step, and it can be so scary to do that, like,
And yeah,
it can be so scary to do that, and I'm really proud that you got yourself, to where you are now too, it's just really awesome,
thank you.
but, like, it's you're a lot of the time when you ask for help, you're actually met with a lot of compassion and kindness and, like, people who are really wanting you to do well, and they're not gonna be as judgmental as your brain might want you to
Yeah,
think they're gonna be. They're more gonna be like, "Let's get you some assistance," but it's a
I
very
think
hard thing to
no, it is.
understand that, like, especially when you're really in it like that, it's like, "No, I
Yeah.
can do it. I don't need help. I don't need help. I'm okay." But, yeah, so anyone
Drowning man doesn't know he's drowning until he's already
yeah,
in.
yeah,
So I think and I think, like I said before, if I could go back and tell myself, just tell someone. I was lying to everyone. I was lying to my mom, I was lying to my dad, and I was eating myself alive for that. Every time that my mom asked how I was doing, because I had this whole lie about me living with roommates or whatever, this whole thing.
mhm,
And I felt awful about it. Not even just from, like, my religious standpoint of, like, lying
mhm,
is a bad thing, but
yeah,
from like, I'm lying to my mom. My mom is the sweetest woman in the world. I'm lying
yeah,
to my dad, and the biggest reason I was lying to my dad, not that this is an excuse, but he had a conversation with my sister where he literally said, and I overheard this, he's gonna go to New York, he's gonna fail, and he's gonna ask for money. And
mhm,
that's the biggest and that was like and honestly, I love my dad to death, but that might have been one of the reasons I didn't ask for help because every time I did, I was like, if I ask for help, that's confirming
yeah,
everything my dad and my sister just said. Loved both of them to death, but
yeah,
um yeah, and I think that for a lot of people, they take a situation like that and they do overextend it because the fact of the matter is, I know that if I would have told my father the situation I was in, he would have been lovingly compassionate, like you
yeah,
said, and he would have helped me. It's
right,
not weakness. A lot of people think
yeah,
asking for help is weakness, but it's actually it is brave and it's
it's a
very strong. You
yeah,
know,
it's and
we live
it's
in a world that demoralizes people for asking for
mhm,
help, but we're in such a mental health crisis.
yeah,
Please ask for help. If you need
yes,
it, ask for help.
yeah,
I've told people before, I have my own place. If you and my friends are like, I don't know how I'm
mhm,
gonna afford rent next week. Like, listen, I have a couch. I have two
yeah,
couches. That means I can house two people.
yeah,
Okay. So, it is what it is. And that's really a lot of what, you've listened to some podcast episodes. Really
Mhm.
what this is supposed to be is a community of people that are compassionate and helping each other and leaning on one another.
Yeah,
And
totally.
yeah. And I'm proud of you as well. Like you have a plethora of hurdles. You've got this huge race that you fight every single day, and it's
Mhm,
one hurdle after the other, after the other, after the other. And there are physical fights and there are the emotional mental ones. And
mhm.
I, for one, think that it is more exhausting to fight your brain every
Yeah.
single day over every little thing. See, I have ADHD, which
Oh, yeah,
just
same.
means that this guy is on fucking
Yeah.
I've never been diagnosed with OCD. A lot of people joke and say I have it. I don't know if I do. Maybe I should go see a therapist.
You
Out of
should see a therapist. You should, check out my book. So what one thing I really do like about my book too is, it does combine kind of what I was saying before, like that, like, lived experience side, but it also has kind of, like, this section in it that's, like, a high level education of, like, what
Mm,
he actually is and, like, a little kinda, like, sneak peek of what, like, therapy looks like when you go see, like, a therapist for the first time, and then, like, available treatment options.
mhm.
Um 'Cause I think like we were just saying, it can be really scary to, like, go to a therapist and be like, "Hey, like, this is this weird thought I'm having," or even just to be like, "Hey, I need help." Like, it's a very intimidating kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but I think it's cool that, like, um but yeah, it has, like, kind of these both of these elements. I also have my therapist actually, helped me look at that section as well just to make sure, like, everything's, like, very clinically appropriate, so that's
That's
kinda cool.
awesome.
But yeah, so but it's very, high level, so it's you're not gonna get, like, too bogged down in, like, specifics, but
Mhm.
I think it would be, if anyone's, like, interested in learning about it or think maybe, like, "Hey, I might be experiencing this," I think it would be, like, a cool kind of
Yeah, absolutely. And I would love to have like whatever link you have for that
yeah,
book, any of your work. I'd love to put that in the description so that people
yes,
can
that'd be
like
awesome.
reach
Yeah,
out to you. Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. The whole idea of this episode for you is to promote you, promote your work, your book, your mentality, your beautiful, wonderful story.
Thank you.
And I'm here for it. I have a bookshelf full of
You have
every author that has
no way.
ever been on my podcast.
Oh,
And
that's
so yes,
awesome.
I absolutely want your book. Yes, please.
That's so cool.
However much it costs, I will throw myself
Oh,
into debt to buy
that's
it.
so nice.
Like,
That's so nice. That's so
yeah,
cool. Yeah,
my bookshelf is packed away right now, otherwise I'd
that's
show you. Whenever I get into my new place, I
yeah.
want to have a setup to where it's, like, right here, and I'm
Mhm.
gonna go live on TikTok more often so that people can actually, like, see it.
That's really cool. Yeah, I
Yeah,
really like the idea.
yeah,
That's awesome. I know it's kind of weird to, like, kind of promote yourself in your book too, but it's also, like, it's more about kinda getting that awareness out and, like,
yeah.
wanting people to understand, like, the experience and
Hey, you worked hard on that book. You
yeah, that's
did.
awesome.
You
Thank
worked
you.
really hard on that book, and
Thank
there's a message behind it. You're not
yeah,
doing it for money, but money
yeah.
just so happens to be a benefit of your hard work.
It's a little bit, but, like, it's more about
Yeah.
the message, honestly.
It's more about the message, and that's the thing is, it costs money to make a book. Like, if I order like, I have a book published. If I wanted to
Mhm.
order a hard copy, it would cost me money. So,
Yeah,
obviously, as much as we'd want it to be free because we are advocating for mental health,
yeah,
it does
I know.
all this does cost money. Yeah.
Yeah, I do have
Mhm.
a digital version that's a little less too, if that's,
Yeah.
just
No,
so
I would love a physical copy. Not only
yeah,
so I can read it, but so I can have it on
I would
display.
love to
That
see
way,
on
if I'm live on TikTok and someone's
yeah,
like, "Hey, who's that Mia girl? What's she write about?" I'll be like, "Oh, yeah, let me
that'd be
tell you."
awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's so cool.
absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm very proud of you for the work you've
Thank
done.
you.
Like, the
Thank
thing
you.
about it is we all have our dreams, we all have our passions, and this is something that me and Edward were just talking about in the
Mhm.
episode before this one was how terrifying it can be to accept a label. I'm one that I hate
Yeah,
labels. I hate every label out there,
yeah.
and it took me the longest to accept that, by technicality, I'm an actor, I'm an author, I'm a poet.
Mhm.
All this, I'm a podcast host. Like,
Yeah,
am I really? Am I
yeah.
am I if I'm not making money, if I'm not doing it every single day? And
Mhm,
and I quote this man more than I talk to him. One of the first guys that was ever on my podcast, his name was Larimore. He said
mhm.
that you don't have to paint every single day to be an artist. And it
Yeah.
was the most inspirational thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of mantras in my back pocket. I make mantras in my sleep. But that
Mhm.
one right there, you don't have to paint every single day to be an artist. You don't have to go on stage every week to be an actor.
Yeah.
I don't have to publish a podcast well, I mean, I do publish a podcast episode every week. Every Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern
Love
Standard Time. Yes, baby.
listening,
But
yeah.
but you're doing a fantastic job, and you
Thank
deserve to give yourself high praise
oh,
because
thank
you're doing well. All
thank you.
right.
You too. Yeah.
You don't have to be the Robin Williams of the world, okay? There's only one Robin
Yeah,
Williams. You don't
right?
have to everyone and media is the worst part of this because we
Yeah.
see all of these glorified, manicured versions of people, and we
Mhm.
think that that's what we need to be. In order to be an actor, an author, a poet, whatever, we have to be this, you
Yeah.
know?
When
Now, of
actually
course no, go
yeah.
ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, actually, like, of course, that's so true, but, I think to be a really authentic artist, writer, actor, you need those parts that are not shiny, like, you need the to really connect with people. I think it's really important to show that not everything about you is perfect and that you struggle. Um, it's
And that's
really hard to do, though, that's a really hard thing to do, but,
yeah.
I think it's really important.
You're
Yeah,
showing the brush strokes, the messy
yeah,
ones, you know?
exactly.
It's one of my favorite mantras of my own is that to be perfectly human, you have to be imperfect.
Yeah.
And it was in my I Crashed Nova episode where I talked about perfectionism, and I talked about how
Mhm.
I'm a perfectionist. I
Yeah.
self-diagnosed myself with perfectionism, but
Mhm.
I feel like I'm a perfectionist. Everything has to be wonderful all the time. But
Yeah.
then I realized that it's my imperfections that make me beautiful. It's
Yeah.
my anxiety, it's my ADHD, it's my deformed ear, it's my
Mhm.
cocked head whenever I'm walking, whatever. All these little things that I notice about myself that
Mhm.
make me beautiful, that make
Mhm.
me unique, you know? And I that's why I'm such a promoter of self-love
Yeah.
and taking care of yourself because everybody's battle is different.
Mhm.
And it ties into another mantra of mine about we're all on a mountain range, huge mountain range, and
Mhm.
everybody's climbing their own mountain. Every mountain looks different. My summits, valleys, and peaks are different than yours. Neither of them are more valuable than the other.
Yeah.
But we're both climbing this mountain and we're trying our best and we're putting ourselves out there. And the least we can do is uplift one another, love ourselves
Mhm.
while we're climbing. Honor the peaks, honor the summits, honor the valleys.
Yeah.
Because it's really the highs, lows, and middles that make us who we are, you
Yeah.
know?
No, it's
And
true.
yeah, and I think about every artist in every genre that's ever existed that wasn't popular. Like Van Gogh wasn't popular until
Mhm.
years after he died. And I just think about this plethora of people that didn't know how beautiful their work was until far after they were gone. Probably didn't even consider themselves to be artists. And in
Mhm.
a world of artificial intelligence generated images, it's very difficult to be an artist. It's very difficult to be a voice actor. It's very difficult to be a anything nowadays.
Yeah.
But it's that authenticity. It's that
Mhm.
human nature
Yep.
our AI will never be able to replicate the imperfection that is the human mind, you know?
Yeah. It's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one thing I didn't do any AI images for the book either, so I was like, I'm not using any kinda AI, like, things for it just 'cause I agree with you. It kinda loses its, like,
Mhm.
authenticity and perfection, just like you were saying.
And
Um,
I say this and the emblem for my podcast is AI generated. I will admit that. I admitted it before.
hey,
Whenever
it's
I went I've been begging
yeah,
someone to make me art. I will pay whoever, whatever, whenever. Every
yeah,
time someone comments on it, I'm like, "Please just tell someone that I want this changed." Because whenever I made the podcast, I was
yeah.
literally like I don't want this to be the one thing preventing me from starting this journey.
No, it's
I
true.
don't yeah.
Yeah, and at the same time, it's like I use it not necessarily with this book, but I use it to assist myself. Like I have started using like AI to do like drawing prompts. I'm like, give me a
Mhm.
drawing prompt and then it'll like give you something in text and then I like draw it just to like I don't know, get a little practice or kinda think about something maybe I wasn't on my mind or whatever, but I think AI is a tool. It's a good tool, but, to an extent,
Mhm.
it can't
Dr.
replace.
Steller, yeah, Dr. Steller said it best. Dr. Steller is one of actually my psychology professor at the University of Albany, and he said it best that AI is a tool, just like you
Mhm.
said. It's you should use it, absolutely, but don't let it drive. Imagine you're on a motorcycle, AI
Right.
is in the sidecar, you're the one driving.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
True.
Um, yeah, I use AI as a journal. You know,
Yeah.
I go to I literally I will rant for an hour to
Yeah.
AI just to put it out there in the universe and, organize my calendar, organize my thoughts, whatever,
Mhm.
but it doesn't I don't you know what I mean? It's not like I'm going to AI and like, "Hey, could you
No.
help me
Yeah.
create this podcast episode
Yeah.
with this girl
No.
named Mia?" Like,
Yeah, right. It's a tool. It's a tool.
it is a tool,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's interesting. It's definitely interesting when it comes to art and different things like that. But,
Yeah.
you know, it's it's a tool. So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it is a tool, and there's a lot out there, and the thing about AI as well is, I think and I've heard some bad stories, especially in regards to mental health with AI,
Uh,
um, but as it continues to evolve, I can if you look back at every piece of technology that's ever been invented, they've all had this scenario of, "Oh, well, now everyone's" like when the car was
mhm,
invented, "Oh, great. Now no one's gonna, ride a horse and no one's gonna
right.
go outside," or, and all this other stuff. Everyone's the air conditioner, the telephone, everything
Mhm.
that we use daily now doesn't keep us from being human, but,
Right.
it received some form of hate. I'm
Yeah.
sure whenever the wheel was invented, there was a caveman that was like, "Oh,
Right.
you create wheel. Now man no carry big thing. They use wheel, be lazy, lose strength."
Right.
Like, it's a tool. It's something that just helps us live a more convenient life.
Yeah.
So, but I wanna talk more about you and your
Yeah.
art.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, you said that you do poetry as well, like, that's
Yeah,
incredible.
so the book is, a collection of illustrated poems, um,
Hmm.
which it took me a really long time to figure out kind of the format of this book and, like, kind of, like, what I wanted it to be. I knew I wanted it to have, visuals in it, of course, like drawings.
Mhm.
Um, it looked so different at, like, so many different points. It was, all poems at one point and no words or, no drawings, and then it was all, drawings and no words, and then, I was trying to make a full graphic novel, which is really hard to do by yourself. So I, kinda landed on this idea of, like, having one poem and one drawing, that support the other, right? So it's you're getting kinda like 2 different ways of, experiencing the poem and or the I guess, like, the book in general. But,
Yeah.
what it does is, these poems and drawings are, uh, how we see the main character Drew kind of, like, story arc, like, with and journey, like, with the OCD and anxiety. So, like, the beginning, you're basically seeing, like, her, sketchbook. So you're seeing, like, these poems kinda tell this story of, like, this is the struggle, and it's really, like, dark and, uh, lonely and isolating at that beginning point, and then she does what we were talking about. She's very brave. She asks for some help. That leads her to the anxiety specialist, and then that's when you break into, like, this kinda graphic novel that's, like, outside of the sketchbook part of it. And then it's kinda like the real life, right? So then you get, like, the, therapy kinda high level, what this is kinda thing, and then you get more poems, like, as she's kinda keeps going on this experience, and we're still seeing a lot of, like, struggle happening, but there's, like, so much resilience and, like, hope within that struggle.
Mhm.
Um And yeah, the drawings and the poems kinda take you through that kinda journey. Um, yeah, I didn't really know that I was a poet. This is the first time I've really written poetry. I used to write, like, little, like, blurbs almost, like, in notebooks, like, forever, like, since I was 13 or, like, 14, and I
Mhm.
finally showed them to somebody, and they're like, "Hey, I think these are poems," and I was like, "Oh." That's
Hey, I think these are poems.
and
That's
I was like,
incredible. That's incredible, though.
yeah.
Yeah.
So then I
I
go, go, go.
No, I was just gonna say, like, my story was very similar.
Yeah.
If my room wasn't completely packed up right now, I could go get I have, like, 3 notebooks just full of
Mhm.
poetry
Oh,
that
that's
have just
awesome.
been collecting dust.
Yeah, I really like poetry. I like it that it's not, I mean, at least I like free verse, I guess it's called, but I like that there's no rules really in it. Like, you can just kinda write what you wanna write, and it can be
Mm.
playful and artistic, but
Oh, yeah.
also have, like, a story and a narrative, like, with it.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
it I don't know, I get very when I try to write, like, like, more like a story, like, structure, like, with just words, I feel like I get lost in the like, I need to make this correct, like, structure and, like, grammatically correct, like, all the
Yeah.
whatever, and I don't know, I felt very freed, like, writing in this kinda way, like, these poems. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah.
it's something I really, really like. Yeah, I really like it.
You really fucks with it. You really No, that's good.
Yeah, I do.
There's a poem. It's one of my favorites that I've written, and, this was originally and you can judge me if you want to, this was originally a love letter. So, I learned how I changed one word, which changed this from a love letter for one person to something that anybody can enjoy. And I learned how, and my professor was telling me about this, about how with poetry you can shift the audience like that. Like you can make
Mhm.
it specific about one person, or you can leave it kind of like ambiguous and unknown, and that
Yeah,
makes it more like the audience can love it a bit more. They kind
yeah.
of fill in that blank. I'll read it to you, and then you can judge
Yeah,
me for it, okay? Are you
I love
ready?
it.
Okay. The
Yes.
the profess the professional poet is about to judge my work.
I'm
Uh,
I'm not joking, I promise. This is great.
"O love, old friend, how does the world treat you? Abusive eyes affixed to exposed thighs, and then they bid adieu. But in the firelight our shadows danced, young and alone, for love is a treated friend, romance that composes for first light against the walls of life's regrets. For hearts combined could surely fly if hope is worth the risk. But who am I to decide for love's truest form? Is love the moon, the stars, the sun? Surely nobody knows. But love is in her eyes, her smile, her wrinkled nose, the way she brings stars to my day. The sun is her presence, and her grace is the moon's embrace. Her heart is where my soul lay. Her focus and ambition are like the turtle's race, her speed unlike rabbits, her calm could give chase. Her kindness and care leave my heart bare, not cold, not hot, just right, living comfortably for all its days. Her empathy, her free spirit brings me to wonder, a potion so small, a cake so tall, no matter the size I'm seen. So, if love is risk and life is this, then the journey is worth taking. The leap is where I'm fixed. For her strength brings me focus, her ambition brings me inspiration, her kindness brings me comfort, and her modesty calls to my faith. So worry not, old friend, I'll take care of love, for my cracked heart is filled with gold, and for that we shall not part. For love skates on broken glass, dances on ripped cords, paints in the shadows of firelight, sings the chorus of hopeful hearts. For time knows of connections untold, patience brings that which unfolds, stories align when clocks are true, lies cave in when I say I love you. I've trusted God through sorrow's climb, from the forest's rebirth to today's sunshine. Time has shown an invisible line, so who am I to question time, when God before has shown my rhyme? Though the path was never seen, these chapters have left me clean. So I'll walk this path guided by faith, trusting in time, patience, and grace. For love's truest form, I'll let it be, unfolding its story as written for me.
Nice. Snaps.
I don't know.
Very cool. That's
I guess
awesome.
so. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's something I worked on over the course of like months. That's not something I
Yeah.
wrote all at once,
Yeah.
but yeah.
It's very cool, yeah,
Probably Well, thank
yeah.
you. Probably not as good as your work, I'm sure. I
Yeah.
can't wait to read it.
Yeah, I can can I read one
Sure.
on the
I'm
podcast?
down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see, but yeah, no, that was great.
Thank
Let me
you.
see if I can grab one really quick. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. Um, is that, like, considered, like, a free verse, like, poem, or would it be more like a structure? I don't really know, honestly, all the
I
terminology.
guess no, it's okay. I just did free verse, honestly.
Yeah,
I didn't really follow a structure.
that's what I like too.
Yeah,
I know there's a lot of different I wanna look more into, the different kinds of structures, but I really liked the free verse just 'cause I kinda like there's no
the
rules, like I
freedom.
was saying.
Yeah. The
If I could
freedom of being able to open yourself creatively.
yeah, it's a really nice thing, to be able to do. I'm gonna grab okay, I got one. Bum, bum, bum. Sorry, give me just 1 second. Okay, beautiful. Alright, so this one is called and this is from my book. This is Infected with a Question. When I wake up to the sound of my alarm, my first thought almost always is, "Does my throat hurt?" I swallow to see. It's a little scratchy. I swallow again, and I trace the pain that runs down the left side of my throat with my finger. It hurts. Panic sets in. I become infected with a question. Why is where it all begins. Allergies, virus, infection, something more serious. Cancer, a mystery illness with no cure. I ignore unopened messages from my friends asking if I'm coming today. I urgently need answers from search engines to see if there's any mentions of when I'll be dead. My search history reads like a medical journal. I click the same purple links that I always reread just in case I miss something. I reread and read the most common cause, but I need to know the cause. I swallow again. This time it really hurts. I start to sweat. Do I have a fever? Search. What is considered a fever? Typical body temperature is 98.6, but varies slightly. Can nobody give me a straight answer? I don't need to read anymore. Now I need to act. I take my temperature again and again, as if my memory is being wiped clean in between each beep. Why don't I believe what the numbers read? I feel tears start to well up as the familiar sensation of frustration. You would think it would get boring, the same old story. The question why must be a viral infection, because it seems that my brain has no immunity to this question. That's infected with the question. Thank you. Thank you. Snaps all around. Thank
Snaps, snaps, snaps. That was really good. That
you. Yeah,
was
I like
awesome.
yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
Like, I
Have you ever gone to, like, an open mic night and, like, performed your poetry
no,
before?
but I really want to. I did like a virtual one, that was like a mental health
Mm.
based one. Um, that was a while ago, but I'd love to read 'em. Do you ever read yours?
I've wanted to, but I've never done it.
I know it's kinda scary, but I do want I would love to do it. I was actually looking
Yeah,
and seeing if that was I'm sure there's something around. That would
that
be
would be
great.
cool. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think your poetry is incredible. I can't wait to read your
Thank you
book.
too. Yes.
I
You too.
Yeah, and I love it. This is the first time I've ever shared poetry on the podcast, by the
That's so
way, so that was
cool. I feel so honored. It was so good. It was
yeah,
great.
you're the second poet I've had on the podcast too, which is incredible,
Oh,
and you're an actress.
yeah, I know.
You're like me in so
I
many
know,
ways. You have all
honestly,
these little different things,
yeah.
author, actor. My goodness, that's
Yeah,
incredible.
I know,
Well, I'm proud of you.
it's cool. You
Honestly,
too. Yes.
I'm
It's
so
hard to
proud of you for
thank
yeah.
you.
Yeah. You've got so much going on, you're battling so much, and you're still it's hard. Some days you get
I
up
know.
and you're just like, "Man, do I really wanna get out of bed and just battle this?" You know?
Yeah.
Like, even yesterday, I love recording podcast episodes, but
Mhm.
even yesterday, I was like, "Man, am I in the right headspace to record all day?" Like, I've
Yeah.
been recording since
Oh, wow.
11 AM?
Oh
11
my god.
AM? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
you've been
I've been
recording midnight. Yeah.
yeah, I've worked an entire shift at work,
Yeah,
basically.
right?
But I love it, in every episode, and I'm just like, "Man, I'm so glad I did this. This is great."
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah.
It's that's kind of that's kind of like what I was gonna say is like for me and like it's it's like every day can be really hard and I can be really worried about stuff, but kind of now what I really try to focus on is um like doing things that I value even if I'm still worried. So it's like even if I'm worried and this is I'm not trying to solve like or make the worry go away by doing like
Hmm.
drawing or whatever, but it's like I'm living my life and making my world like bigger. Um
Yeah,
or worry
exactly.
instead of choosing to engage in like things that are not gonna help answer the unsolvable question. But it's really hard to do that. And like
It is hard.
yeah, it's very similar. Even if it's not,
Oh,
OCD,
yeah.
everybody kind of has that, but I try
Yeah.
really hard to choose something else is what I like to say rather than just the worry, the
Just
worry less.
I Yeah, and I'm proud of you for failing. And that sounds crazy, but every time you mess up, every time you fail, every
Yeah,
time you're like, man, I could have done better. That's okay. It's all part of growth,
it
and
is.
it's amazing.
Yeah, and
Uh,
like you can just try again,
Try
you know?
again. Get
Yeah.
up tomorrow and try again. And I think it's a beautiful thing to, you know, man, because it is a mess, and it's hard. It is hard.
Mhm.
Um, we want to be perfect. We want to always put the right foot forward, and sometimes we put our left. You know,
Yeah.
so. Yeah. Well, yeah, I can't wait to read your book, and this was great. We'll absolutely record another episode.
Yes, I'd love that.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, got to talk more about the acting world and everything
Definitely.
else. There's so
Yeah.
much to talk about.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, like while you're in the podcast, while you're in the Discord here, I know you
Yeah.
said you're not 100% familiar with Discord. We have
Yeah.
a lot of other voice actors here. We have authors, we have photographers, we have all
Amazing.
sorts of people.
Very
They're
smart. Yeah.
super nice, super cool. If any of them aren't nice to you, you let me know. But yeah, they're all super cool. So if you ever
Yeah.
want to reach out, I don't know if any of them live in here.
Mhm.
I think a few of them are in PA, but that's pretty much about it. A lot of them are all over. But yeah, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it. Is there
Having
anything else you want to say before I stop the recording?
um, just, like I keep saying this on podcasts that I've been on, but it's so crazy that I'm like, I can't believe I'm on a podcast because this was so not a possibility like 3 years ago for me.
Oh
Um,
man, yeah.
and like
Honestly, hey, I'm surprised I'm recording
yeah,
a podcast as
I
a
know
podcast host.
it's really cool, but and it's something I really like doing, and I love like sharing art and being an advocate. So I guess what I'm saying is like if there's something that you are really wanting to do and you're afraid to do it, you should do it, and just kind of take that chance and see what happens.
The scariest thing I ever did was the best thing I ever did for myself.
Yeah.
Hey there, this is friend of the show, Anthony Ziello, and I just wanted to say thanks for stepping into the walk-in today. If this episode spoke to you, go ahead and follow the show, and catch us every Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern. You can find the walk-in on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, YouTube Podcasts, pretty much anywhere you listen. And if you want to hang with our community, come join the Discord. We'd love to have you there. A huge shout out to the Podmatch community for having us with them. Their support for dreamers is unmatched. Until next time, take a breath, stay inspired, and as always, we'll walk together again next week.